So in this teaching worksheet, we're going to continue with the idea of arc length and sector, but we're going to do everything in radian mode. So we already done the conversion from degree to radian. So it's just another measure of angle. So a quick summary of whatever we have learned in our conversion. So pi radian is equivalent to 180 degree. 2 pi will be 360 degree. Pi over 2 radian will be 90 degree. So these are the few common numbers that we always use in the degree mode. So right now when we switch over, we got to be using it in radian. So for example, in the degree mode, I mentioned that it is when we want to find arc length, it is a fraction of a circumference. So it is a fraction of the circumference. So the fraction is based on degree. So that's why it's the fraction is based on x degree over 360. So same thing happened for the sector. Sector is the pizza, if you still remember. So we use it as a fraction of a circle. That's why it's a pi r squared. But we got the same fraction. So in the degree mode, right, our fraction is based on x degree over 360. So now that we are converting to radian, so our fraction, our angle is in radian right now. So the fraction that we are dealing with cannot be theta over 360. So they must match the angle, they must match the unit. So if the angle is in radian, then the equivalent of 360 is 2 pi. So that's why if you look, the idea will still be the same. It is still fraction of a circumference. It is still fraction of a circle. Okay, so I want you to look carefully. So if you apply the idea of a fraction of a circle, so this is the fraction, and I'm still using the 2 pi r. So some of you may use this formula. It is correct. You just go ahead and use this formula. But this formula allow you to do some amount of cancellation. If you look, it allow you to do some amount of cancellation. That's why we got reduced as r theta. Okay, so it gets you some amount of cancellation. So would you want to do the arc length? You can do the arc length in this format, or you can do it in the reduced format. So for me, I will usually stick to r theta because it's just radius times theta. That will be much, much easier. Okay, so the same thing here. The fraction is theta over 2 pi. Because of this, when I work it out with pi r squared, I have certain thing that I can cancel. My pi can cancel. And then I get theta r squared over 2. So theta r squared over 2 is actually the same as this. It's same as half r squared theta. So usually for me, I will directly use the half r squared theta. I leave it to you. Would you want to go through this? Or would you want to go direct into the half r squared theta? So if I would like the whole area, this whole area will be half r squared theta. That means, right, as long as the angle is in radian mode, we can directly use it. If the angle is in degree mode, you go back to your usual fraction of a circumference and fraction of a circle. So that was the one that you have been using. So stick to that if it's degree mode. So make sure you read the question. So if the question is given to you in degree, you stick to the degree formula. If the question is given to you in radian, you stick to the radian formula. So later on, our sine rule, cosine rule might still be applicable. So with this idea, we're going to show you some basic example about finding arc length and circle and the area of the sector. So for the first part, if you look right, the angle is in radian. So this angle is the theta that we're talking about. So theta is in radian. And the radius is 4. So if I would like to find the arc, so straight away, I just apply my r theta. The formula is just r theta. The r is 4. The theta is 2 pi over 3. So usually my habit is to leave the answer in terms of pi first. So I'll leave my answer in terms of pi. The question will tell you the value of the pi. But if it's not stated, usually we use calculator pi or you use 3.142. This is stated in the O-level formula list. O-level instruction list. So it's either your calculator pi or 3.142. It is your choice. So of course, if you encounter a lot of numbers, okay, do write down all the numbers first before you go for 3SF. So that is the arc length that we're talking about. So the next part, we are finding the area of the shaded region, which is a sector. It's a piece of pizza. So that's a piece of pizza, which is a sector. So the radian formula is half r squared theta. So put in your r, put in your theta. So again, my habit is to press in terms of pi first. That means I'll leave the answer in terms of pi. I will just punch calculator for this, and I get 5 1/3. Then I multiply by the calculator pi. Before I gave it as a 3SF answer. So there is a very, very simple use of the basic arc length and the pizza formula. So sometimes we got to be twisting around. So this is another one that they will be twisting around. So they give us a radius. So the radius is 7. Okay, and our job is to find AOB. And the only information they gave us is the perimeter of the sector. So perimeter of the pizza. So if you go and outline the pizza, the perimeter is made out of 3 parts. So if you look carefully, the perimeter of this slice of pizza has 3 parts. It will be a 7, another 7, and then an arc length. So arc length, we follow the formula. And from here, I'm going to make it equal to 18.5. So this is quite a simple form. This one will appear quite often in O-level question. So common mistake is sometimes we forgot that the parameter include the 2 radius. So from here, you slowly work up. And you slowly work out the theta. Okay, so I think please check it out. So let me do a quick rewrite. So the parameter has 3 sections. So the arc length follow the formula r theta. So same thing. So we will equate it to the 18.5. So work it out. You will find that the answer is not very nice. So you'll get 9/14 r theta 7. 18.5 minus 14. I think there is something wrong with my answer here. So you should get this amount of radian. If you are doing it in decimal, yes, you can do it in decimal. But if you are using it right, try to write out a lot of decimal. So it will be a 3SF answer. But please do not use a 3SF answer in the next part. If you use a 3SF answer, then you will end up some degree of rounding off. So with this, I can find my whole pizza. So with this, I can find my whole pizza for the second part. So the whole area is half r squared theta. So I'm going to use 7. I'm not going to use the whole decimal. I'm going to use a fraction so that will be the most accurate. Okay, I think there is also something wrong here. Okay, so let me check that there is no careless mistake. Okay, so that this one will introduce the 2 example will introduce you the idea of using radian formula, or rather the formula in radian. But we are still calculating the same arc length and the same pizza.